Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Who doesn't want no taxes on tips? Who doesn't want no taxes on tips? I can tell you right now, there's a lot of restaurants who are going to do some profit sharing on those tips. They'll probably take 10% of the tips, group tips, all that stuff. No taxes on it, just to stay afloat and in business. Some restaurants need it, some don't. I'm actually all for no taxes on tips, and that is what Donald Trump is proposing. Former President Donald Trump is proposing no taxes on tips. Now, why is this good? I had some friends when I was in college who were working as servers for Ruby Tuesdays and other diners. And listen, they had to pay taxes on those tips. They weren't really making any money as servers anyway. And now you have them paying taxes on a tip. Something for their hospitality, for actually providing a true service to America. No one is going to be rich off of tips. I can promise you that. I don't care where you work. You can work for the most expensive restaurant in the world. You are not going to get rich off of tips. Unless you're a stripper, then those type of tips are way, way different. Okay? Now, I've never, again, been to a strip club, especially in the States, and I can tell you that I'm sure that they get tipped real well in the States, but I'm just not familiar with that economy, okay? Now, I've watched a couple YouTube videos, and they stated that some strippers were making like $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year back in the day. 2020, 2024 is no longer like that, apparently, according to them. But how do you feel about the tip ban? Let me know in the comment section down below. I personally believe that this is a great step in the right direction. I do believe that when I tip somebody, I want to know that the whole tip, my whole graciousness has went to that individual. This person has served me well, and I want to reward them with said tip. I sometimes ask the servers, hey, does this tip go directly to you? And they'll tell me yes. I've never had a server that said no. And so when I tip them, I expect that this tip goes directly to them. I'm so happy to provide them with that tip for their amazing service. With that being said, with no taxes on tips, I would be so much more happier. In fact, I might tip more because now there's an emphasis on tipping someone because there's no taxes on it. Now, this might also work in a negative way. Some people might say, oh, I'm going to tip 7.5% less, depending on your state, because, hey, now there's no taxes on it. So this is what you would have gotten had there been taxes. And you're working a regular job like everybody else. And so, therefore, you deserve a tax tip. Some people might think like that. I promise you some might. But the tipping community is very competitive. The waiters are very, very vocal. And we hear it all the time on TikTok, YouTube, everywhere else. People who don't tip, people who tip like this, people who tip like that. Just stay home if you don't want to tip. Blah, 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 blah. Listen. Hey, what can I say? I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong. All I'm telling you is what I would do and what I think others may do should this get passed. But I'm genuinely curious. Do you think that this is going to help servers, or will people become more cheap due to increased prices, inflation, all that stuff, and not tip as much as they should? I don't think anyone believes that, I personally don't think anyone believes that a tip should be taxed, because we already have this mindset of those people who are serving us are making so much less than us, and therefore they're not truly living life at all to begin with. And I know what it's like working in the restaurant industry. I know what it's like to have people who necessarily need me, right, to pay their paycheck because their boss isn't paying their paycheck. Their boss can't afford to pay their paychecks as servers. And so they necessarily need us in order to provide for their family. And so I completely understand why a lot of people would say, listen, these people are just trying to survive, and those tips allow them to do so. But at the same time, for me, I'm looking at it like, now that there's no taxes on it, these people should at least make 5-10% more on average, be able to maybe take a day off instead of work 6 days a week. And so that is my hope for this bill should former President Donald Trump become president. But what, again, I'm genuinely curious what other people believe will happen should the no taxes on tips go into effect. I do believe that this is an easy bill to pass. I do believe that there won't be much pushback on this because it helps those who are less fortunate than us, at least from our perspective. I've seen some people, especially the Hispanic community, raise their family through the restaurant industry, whether it's tipped or not. And to see them get such a boost for all the hard work that they do would be absolutely, absolutely impressive and nice to see. And so I am absolutely excited to see what transpires in the future. What policies are you pushing for? What policies do you want to see as a whole? What policies are you against? Because I do not agree with every policy that former President Donald Trump is running for, especially the stop and frisk policy. I absolutely hate it, and I do not want that to be back in effect. Because when I was a young adult, I was like 16, I was getting stopped and frisked in New York City's subway stations, and I believe that that was inappropriate. I believe that I was treated as a criminal before I even had the chance to be a criminal. And I'm not a criminal, by the way. I just want to say my record is clean. And I just absolutely disliked the fact that I was treated as such at such an early age. It was almost grooming to be a criminal, almost being treated like a criminal before you're a criminal. That was absolutely inhumane, insane, a lack of freedom, a lack of respect. It was absolutely uncalled for and not constitutional. And I would be very heated should that ever become a policy again in this America. Now, if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Please let me know, again, how you feel. What policies are you really going for and rooting for this election period? Let me know in the comment section down below. Did I miss anything? I want to know what policies that you agree with. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.